Stop scrolling. If you've been asking God for a sign, don't ignore this moment, because what you're about to hear isn't a coincidence. You didn't find this message by accident. God knows exactly what you've been carrying in silence, and today, He wants to answer the question you've been afraid to ask. Stay with me for the next few minutes, because this message could change the way you see your life. God says, "My child, I have heard every prayer you whispered when no one else was around. I have seen every tear you tried to hide. Even when you believed I was silent, I was working in ways you couldn't see." Before you scroll, stay with me for just a moment. This message is not for everyone, but if you've been praying, if you've been asking God for a sign, if you've been wondering whether He still sees your tears, then don't leave yet, because what you're about to hear may be the confirmation you've been waiting for. Sometimes God doesn't answer with thunder. Sometimes He answers through a quiet reminder that reaches your heart at exactly the right moment. Maybe you've been feeling exhausted. You've smiled in front of people while silently carrying battles no one knows about. You've questioned your purpose. You've wondered why doors keep closing. You've watched other people move forward while your own life seems to stand still. And in those quiet moments, you've whispered, "God, are you still with me?" Listen carefully. God has never abandoned you, not for 1 second. Even when you couldn't see Him working, He was already preparing what your eyes couldn't yet understand. Every delay has a purpose. Every closed door has a reason. Every unanswered prayer has a lesson that will make the blessing even greater when it arrives. Right now, you may only see confusion, but God already sees the complete picture. Think about a seed planted in the ground. For weeks, nothing appears on the surface. It looks forgotten. It looks lifeless. Yet beneath the soil, something incredible is happening. Roots are growing. Strength is forming. Life is preparing to break through. Your life is no different. Just because you can't see the progress doesn't mean God isn't working. Some of the greatest miracles begin where human eyes see nothing. Maybe you've been carrying disappointment for longer than you expected. Maybe you believed this year would be different. Maybe you thought that prayer would already be answered. But hear these words today. God is never late. His timing protects you from receiving something before you're ready to carry it. There are blessings that would have destroyed you if they had arrived too early. There are opportunities that looked perfect but would have taken you away from God's best. Sometimes God's greatest act of love is saying, "Not yet," because He sees what you cannot. The waiting season isn't punishment, it's preparation. It's where faith grows stronger than fear. It's where character becomes deeper than comfort. It's where your trust becomes more valuable than immediate results. Remember this, the enemy wants you to believe that silence means abandonment. But God's silence has never meant His absence. Even when heaven feels quiet, God is still moving. He is opening doors you've never imagined. He is arranging conversations you don't know about. He is protecting you from dangers you've never seen. He is preparing people who will encourage you at exactly the right time. Nothing about your life has caught God by surprise. Not your mistakes, not your failures, not your fears, not even the prayers you've stopped praying because you felt discouraged. He remembers every single one. Today, stop measuring God's faithfulness by what you can currently see. Measure it by who He has always been. A God who keeps His promises. A God who restores hope. A God who specializes in impossible situations. And perhaps, this very moment is the beginning of a chapter you will one day look back on and say, "Now I understand why God asked me to wait." So today, God is asking you to make one simple decision. Stop letting fear speak louder than faith. Fear will always tell you that nothing is changing. Faith reminds you that God is working even when you cannot see it. The world teaches you to trust only what your eyes can prove. But God's kingdom has always worked differently. Faith comes before the miracle. Trust comes before the breakthrough. Obedience comes before the blessing. If everything made sense, faith would not be necessary. That's why some of God's greatest works begin in seasons that seem impossible. Think about your own journey. Look at every challenge you've already survived. There were moments when you believed you wouldn't make it. Moments when you thought the pain would never end. Moments when you felt completely alone, yet here you are, still standing, still breathing, still searching for God. That alone is evidence that His hand has never left your life. Maybe you've made mistakes. Maybe there are decisions you wish you could take back. Maybe guilt has been following you for years. But hear this clearly. God is not defined by your past. His grace is greater than your failures. His mercy is greater than your regrets. Your story is not over because you stumbled. Sometimes the people God uses the most are the ones who first believed they were beyond hope. So stop calling yourself disqualified when God still calls you chosen. Stop calling yourself forgotten when heaven still knows your name. Stop believing the lie that your best days are behind you. God has written chapters you haven't read yet. There are prayers that are closer to being answered than you realize. There are blessings already moving toward your life. There are doors that only God's timing can open. Don't quit one day before your breakthrough. Don't stop praying because you haven't seen the answer yet. Don't give up on the promise because the waiting has been longer than expected. Keep believing, keep trusting, keep walking forward one faithful step at a time, even when progress feels slow, even when emotions tell you to give up, even when nobody else understands what you're carrying. Remember this truth: God has never failed, not once, and He will not begin with you. One day, what feels like a delay today will become part of your testimony. One day, you'll encourage someone else by saying, "I almost gave up, but God was working the entire time." So lift your head, take one more step, pray one more prayer, believe one more time, not because life is easy, but because God is faithful, and faithfulness has always been stronger than fear. If this message found you today, don't ignore it. Perhaps this wasn't an accident. Perhaps this was the reminder your heart needed. Receive God's peace. Receive His strength. Receive the hope that tomorrow can be different from yesterday. Because the same God who carried you this far is not finished with your story. Your breakthrough may not arrive in the way you expected, but it will arrive at the right time. Trust Him. Walk with Him. Stay close to Him. And never forget, the God who heard your very first prayer still hears the one you whispered today. He sees every tear. He knows every burden. He understands every silent battle. And He is closer than you think. May your heart be filled with courage. May your mind be filled with peace. And may your faith become stronger than every fear standing in front of you. God is still writing your story, and the best chapter has not been written yet.